Hello everybody, my name is Troublemaker. This is Wargame AirLand Battle, and we're looking at the Clash of the Clans. We have a Pact versus Pact. First, playing as Pact, we have the No Unit Clan, and they'll be facing off against the Steel Balaleika. I hope I pronounced that right, because honestly, that's a ridiculous name. Representing the No Unit Clan, we have Vanhead, Vinehulst, Bash, Gandhi, and Lemieux. I should note that everyone on that team except for Bash is over 1900 ELO. They are some of the top players in the game, even outside of the team scene. Here for the Steel Balaleika is Saraga, Keshnasas, Valentine or Valentine, and Zarin. It's a great name, Zarin. And everyone on the Steel Balaleika except for Valentine is over 1800 ELO. So you're looking at a match in which No Unit is clearly a better team, but is much closer than you might think. No Unit were the winners of the last Clash of Clans, and they were just overwhelmingly dominating. But this one has a new format, and it's using the Conquest version 2.0, which has a huge effect on things. So speaking of which, this is a pretty tiny map, I should note. Look how tiny, like, literally, the only thing that's far away are these middle locations, and they're not that far away. This map is called Dalarna, I believe. It's, once again, Conquest version 2.0 map version of it, and there's going to be a lot of flank action here. Right off the bat, you can just see that both units kind of lining up their forces, and they have very different tactics here. From Steel Balaleika, we're seeing a lot of infantry, a lot of airborne units, a lot of helicopters. So they might try and go for some air supremacy. And on this flank, once again, lots of infantry. And here's an interesting thing. Anti-air helicopters. So look, yeah, they probably are going for air supremacy. That's probably not debatable right now. It's probably a fact. And on the other side, we have lots of these expensive tanks. T-80U commands. Those are like 260 points. Or higher. Maybe higher. And just lots of tanks, lots of AA, lots of really bulky units that just don't die. And the same thing can be said over here, going for a lot of these T-72s and some T-80Us. So we have one that's got lots of infantry, one that's got lots of tanks, and we're just going to see which one really wins out. We have one air superior player coming out here from the No Unit, and we have like 4 from Steel Balaleika, and they're all the same units, note. So there's no advantages being given here. Like when one unit kills whatnot, it's how it goes. And looks like another MiG for MiG trade will happen here. So nothing big happened there. And will he get away? No, he actually crashes, and the other MiG will escape as well. Yax will in fact do a bomb escalation. We saw this actually come from Random. Random did this. He firebombed this location here as tanks moved up to grab this location. That way this reinforcement point is completely unusable. And that means that this battle for this 1-point base is also already won. Here comes a lot of tanks. T-80 UK command vehicle leading the charge. Stops out once he realizes how bad that is. And Lemieux is going to crash through all these loaded Motostrelkies. One does get deployed, but probably not just enough. And this point will actually get cancelled out by a T-80 UK. This is a really bizarre tactic, as now Lemieux moving up on the flank here to try and grab this reinforcement point, so that when this command moves, which will have to eventually, he'll be able to grab it and not have to have any problems with it. All the while, the battle from the middle is kind of crazy. We do have a pretty considerable town allocation has happened here, and there's T-80U in the back providing fire, knocking out at these tanks, and these infantry in the front are just taking a lot of damage. In the absolute middle of the map, looks like we're seeing a little bit of domination here from the Balaleika, as the No Unit have been put on the backside. They are stuck in these towns, and look how forward these positions are, and they're just getting completely swamped on locations. And on our final flank, in this war update, we see T-72s and T-80Us are going to push at these Motostrelkies, sorry, and there's really a pretty good mismatch here in favor of No Unit. There's clearly no towns here. There's not a lot of AT on the ground. There's not a lot of AT infantry. The only AT are these, in fact, Mi-4As, and I'm not entirely sure they actually are AT now that I look at it again. So these tanks should be able to clean through here pretty easily with not much to worry about. and this position here will be absolutely theirs. But speaking of which, oh my god, we have a BMP-3 heading for a BMP-1K. Now, just to put this in perspective, the BMP-3 is like the king of the BMPs. It has rockets, it has tank destroyers, it has everything, right? The BMP-1K is the like bastard son of the BMP-3. It has one less tank destroyer weapon, slightly less armors, and it's in a bad position. If he can sneak these around, he can do pretty good. Now keep in mind, he's using this recon to kind of figure out where this command is, and he's just splitting off this BMP to kind of cover his bases. So he's going to use these Moto Stodokis in a sneaky location similarly and just try and come around with this. And this is very interesting way of playing. That's what I'll say about that. And actually, this opens up a pretty crazy opportunity, because if you can knock out this BMP 1K here, this means this whole flank, just draw a circle right here, completely falls apart. Absolutely nothing will work here. And this TO-55 and this URL are mostly dead, but without reinforcements, quick reinforcements, this will fall apart very quickly. All the Steel Balaleika have to do is get some AT in the area, and that's assuming once this BMP 1K falls. Speaking of which, we have another BTR 80 coming in here, and might be able to do some pretty crazy stuff here. The command does get pulled very quickly. It's going to try and run away as the BTR 80 is on patrol. This one does not have weapons, so it actually can't defend itself. And the BMP-3 finally gets the command vehicle here, and that locks off this area here. Now suddenly things are looking very different. We have a napalm in this area, able to stun the BMP-1Ds and burn T-72s and BMP-Ts. This is looking very bad for no unit on this flank. And scores are roughly even here. No unit had a small advantage momentarily, but that is basically falling apart. This middle location has been taken over by the Steel Balaleika. This bottom location here, which I guess could also be a bottom or a top, we'll say this bottom location here has been completely dominated by the no unit clan, completely pushing the enemy back to their base. And like I said, it has been able to take out this command here and move backwards. Actually didn't take it out, the command was moved. So they have a great forward position here, but on the other flank here, there's no commands here yet, and they'll be coming, I have no doubt about it. This position looks completely in favor of the Steel Balaleika, and they could easily just push in here, grab this BMP 1K, just like they did at this one, and all things are well. Looks like the vehicle here was napalmed, and the BRDMT-2U will survive the day. But so far, this is looking like it's no units game, unless we can see some commands come on the map for the Steel Balaleika clan. And so far, nothing's getting validated. They've been relying pretty heavily on their air dominance right now, just smashing, bombing any vehicles they can. Note, once like I said, completely cleaned up. All that was surviving from all those T-72s is one T-80U. So for this flank, things are going very, very bad. Now, if they can defend this position effectively, cost-effectively, that's AT infantry teams, anti-tank vehicles, helicopters without getting shot down by AA. They're in an amazing position. But if this can override them in this location, then they're in some serious trouble. Speaking of which, there is an unused command here. This could easily have been floated over to the India base. Easily. But there's a similar situation here. Once again, with a less crazy demeanor, going through the woods instead of going through the open paths. We're seeing infantry sneak through the woods, trying to grab this BMP 1K. Looks like it has been spotted. A bomb has gone off, and it's one hit point left, people. That is crazy. Here comes an ST-24 MP. It knows it's here. It's going to go for the kill, and this could be the big end to the game for the No Unit clan. Oh my god, dead. So now we're seeing a stalemated situation. Both players have equal number of bases, but the benefit, the advantage is in fact going to go to the Steel Balaleika. All they have to do is put a command on this base here, this one base right here, and they are good again. They'll start gaining points. They have such a massive benefit in position. They have the middle base, and they have taken out this entire side of the map here. They can now swoop in on the hotel and make a complete surround. This is going to be an insanely close match. It's all or nothing here for the No Unit clan right now as they push up their T-72s and T-80Us to try and get this base. And if they can't get this base here, they're in a lot of trouble. Could kick them out of the tournament. Speaking of which, T-72 and T-80U rhyme. I know, right? Unfortunately, T-72s have no AA, so they'll be in trouble against these Mi-17s and Mi-24 VPs, which are just crushing through those T-72 tank numbers. There is some infantry in the woods here, but it's getting cleared out by a Moto Stodoki and a BMPT. Going to be a very cost-effective way of clearing those out, and looks like things are going very well. speaking of which, this area has finally been cleaned out by the no unit clan, and there's nothing in the way to stop them from destroying this UAZ. There's no eyes there either. We do see that there's a 1 point advantage somewhere on the map for the Steel Balaleika, as this will become a very close match. The T-80Us are crashing forward, support from T-72s. The T-72 is just so weak, getting destroyed by his BMP-3 with their amazing AT rockets. And oh my god, T-80U has been placed on this point. Such a bold move, and that cancels out that point. And suddenly we're looking at a really funny situation. The no unit clan very wisely using this T-80UK as a sort of forward canceling point. They place it here, and it looks like they smoked it as well, so it can't get shot from any AT. And they will be pushing forward with it. There's no possible reinforcements here at all for the Steel Balaleika. And notice that he's moving one command but not the other. He wants to keep this place neutral for now because it will make it survive a little bit longer. Because it will go down now. Absolutely will. There's no way it's surviving. There's too many tanks here. And we're going to see a massive bombing run here. Just different targets, different locations, lots of napalm, lots of cluster bombs. And I have to take a drink. Now notice there's lots of AA here. And the forward gunner almost dead. One more hit point, he goes down. And lots of other ones will go down as well. 2 bombers getting hit there. And they do in fact finally get that T-80UK. It was a very focused attack on that T-80UK. And the T-80UK is gone. And this point goes back into control of the Steel Balaleika. They risked a lot of bombers to do this, but they have maintained control. They are now +2, which is the highest lead that we have seen in this game, as the lead that was originally given to the no unit clan is slowly falling apart here. The BMP-3 is finally out of rockets. The Mi-24 VP completely out of Concon, or is that really Cocon rockets? I've been calling them Concons. That's kind of silly. Looks like he's going to go ahead and try and land or crash. I think it's crash, actually. And a little bit of MiG fighting here. Looks like this base here has been secured and taken over by the Steel Balaleika, as we're playing my favorite game of Ring Around the Rosie. Yeah, so you're all aware how this game plays. You just circle around each other forever. And this giant tank ball of doom is kind of getting whittled down a bit, but not enough that it's slowed down indefinitely. It's definitely missing a lot of the T-72s that it originally had, and the only real tank here is the 2 T-80Us, so that's something. Another commander going to come in here and try and cancel this point once again, just trying to slow down this lead, which is now +3 by the way. This base here has really given them a huge lead, and this is also giving position to really crash into this hotel location. We have a napalm getting hit here. That is a crazy good napalm hitting the BMP-3, T-80U walking through it. The Mojo Shiraki is getting burned alive. Gandhi is not performing well for this team at the moment, and things are going very bad for him. As the Saraga just using those infantry, but whoa, we see a nice little bombing run here. Or maybe that was artillery. There's no artillery in the map though, so it can't be artillery. It had to be a bombing run. Moto Strelky against Moto Strelky. It is a civil war. Middle location here says attack from Valentine. Looks like he has located the command armor on the map. Just to confirm that he does see it. Oh, he doesn't see it. He's just saying, I think it's there. There is one obscure conqueror in the middle here, but it looks like it's been found. And now we're in this weirdly awkward situation where the reinforcement point is actually still closer for no unit at Delta as opposed to Steel Balaleika at Charlie. So that is something to consider here, absolutely. And the forces of evil, and by evil I mean the pact, are moving up for the no unit clan. T-80U is hitting from flank here and might be able to get this T-64 BI for free, possibly. Also, sneeze time. Choo! God, that sucks. I may have to sneeze again. I'm trying not to, though. Please stop sneezing. Okay, so the T-80s are going to move around these Moto Strelkys, and the UAs, one UAZ getting pulled out, the other one sticking in position just to try and hold on to this point as long as humanly possible. Tunguska getting pulled back. This is going to be a pretty well full pullback of everything except for this single UAZ, which is a sacrificial lamb at this point. There is one AT position coming in. There is a T-80U. Wants to get resupplied with rockets so he can hit this nice side flank here. And that position is pretty well no unit dominated. But battle rages on in this little cubby here between Mike and Hotel as bombs are being used left and right. AA is being mostly ineffective. Here comes a cluster bomb. Got the BMP-3. That's a big snag right there. That's one less rocket to worry about. And now we see some infantry with some spec ops moving in to try and secure location. In the middle here, interesting little situation here for long term. If no unit can get through here fast enough, and there's not much defense here, they can get through that fast enough, they can backflank this middle location as well. I mean, there's not a lot of attention actually being given here by the Steel Balalaikas to this back flank, which is kind of a problem. They're trying to stage some AT where they can. That's a big, big help. Speaking of which, the T-80U that was here died to a BMPT and another T-80U. But they need a lot more. They need to have more cost-effective units, some vehicles out. Just staging vehicles everywhere would help quite a bit right now. Motostrelki is trying to clear these Motostrelki just so this position becomes theirs on a more semi-permanent basis after they capture it. And of course, the Urals here are empty, just using them to spot, see what's here. And the T-80Us slowly creeping across the board will finally get to a location where they can hit some command vehicles, and one command vehicle will get pulled away. And the Conquerors have been dropped, but maybe dropped too far. There is a Conquerors in the woods here, hitting a side flank here. Might not be enough to actually destroy this T-80U. That is kind of scary, isn't it? Oh my god. T-80U, 3 points of health. Here comes 2 more rockets, and 2 hit points! And just not enough. Just barely not enough. Conquerors get knocked out in the woods. T-80U ball of T-72 is coming up. There are a lot of supply trucks coming up, so they can pull these tanks back and resupply their health points and their rockets and their whatnot immediately. But whoa, SU-24 MP coming in for a big cluster bomb, and whoa, what's it gonna hit? Nothing apparently. Not a thing, and this is good for the No Unit clan, who are still behind. They have half the score of their opponents, and they're smashing in. One of the commands goes down. If they can get that other command, they go back to a stalemating situation, at which point their command, which is here, will give them the +1 they need. I'm pretty sure that's how it works. Because they lose 1, they gain 1. No, it's completely stalemated. Never mind. Never mind. It's completely stalemated situation. And oh my god, bombing goes down. But it missed. So that's alright for them. Now this flank here is still very volatile, and No Unit very much realizes they rallied out tons of tanks. This must be an entire clan of tanks that we're looking at here. As just endless numbers of T-80 variants coming out from this No Unit clan. They love the T-80, I guess. They run out of T-80Us. They're now moving up to the T-80-80. Or up, I mean down. It looks like we have a helicopter going to go down here. T-80U, a little bit close range. Could go down as well. BMPT, 4 hit points left over. Could go down. Definitely will go down. T-80, no. Oh, God. Routed in the right direction? That never happens. Speaking of napalm in this location, it belongs now to the Motostrelkis of the blue faction. As this fire cleans up, they will move them in and retake those bases. And No Unit has basically this side of the map. And Steel Balaleika have this side. And so it's pretty much even at this point. It's a funny little ring around the rosy they've been playing with each other. And with so many T-72s and T-80Us, it's going to be a big move to not bring any infantry across this field here. Which, of course, Steel Balalaikas have been doing a pretty well infantry-centric game at this point. And we're seeing a staging of units here, so what he'll do with these is pretty uncertain. It's not close enough to actually be a proper reinforcement block yet, but he does have an Afghansky, which means that will deny the air support, which is absolutely good. And this point has been cancelled again soon. It looks like it will go in for a cancel right here, just sneaking on the border and just trying to get whatever extra points they can out of this, pretty much. The longer they survive, the longer they'll do. And oh my god, Motostrelkis rallied out just in time, and Gandhi spotted this as the Afghansky does go down, so this can be bombed pretty easily, and the units here should be able to take care of it. A Bertino would have been such a juicy target for this reinforcement block, but unfortunately it just didn't happen. It was in fact countered very quickly. On this side of the map, The tanks are just moving up very slowly. This base has been taken out. They can now come to this middle area, and there's not much stopping the mothball tanks. They can pretty effectively move forward. There are some T-80Us being rallied out here, and this kind of shows you a very difference in strategies here. Steel Balaleika, they're playing closer to how I would play. T-80U is your late game tank. You get a bunch of them when you have lots of money at the end of the game. Whereas no unit favors to rally them out at the beginning because there's a steady inflow of income at the beginning of the game that's not related to what points you take. So, they've gone for the best first. Steel Balaleika have gone for the best last. And speaking of which, small flank, very small of course, flank being poking in here into Mike by no unit, who are kind of on their way to taking this base back. They've pushed back every single one of these, and they've rallied up a ridiculous amount of tanks. And once again, Steel Balaleika is in this awkward situation where they don't have a lot of AT. All the while on this flank, looks like once again T-64s and T-80s, T-80Us and T-80As are slowly moving up again as this Werner-Weinhold flank is just crazy. Werner, Weinhold, and Lemieux, both amazing players, both have been featured on this channel, and they might be able to just creep on through here and take out Charlie with relative ease. There's only 4 T-80Us here compared to the 4 T-80Us of no unit plus T-64s, so that's a big consideration on who can win that engagement relatively easy. Once again, we've kind of come to a situation where they might be running low on units. As far as I can tell, the T-80Us on the map are the last T-80Us for the no unit clan. As far as I can tell, they shouldn't be rallying out anymore. And so how they use them will be very important. They've conquered one T-80U in one. A bombing, in fact, did kill the command here. So now no unit is back into the +1 territory. As now they're, once again, in this great situation where they can swamp this position, slide in here, and take the middle base. And that'll be huge. Now remember, a big part of their tactic has been to come in with cheapy jeeps, coming in behind, taking them and using a big powerful tank up front. But that big powerful tank is dead now, so they won't have any great beachfront for their next attack, which will be a problem in their general strategy. And we have a call for attack on what? This road area? That seems weird. I wish there was a way to turn off the signal flare noise. Speaking of which, 2 TC4 BVIs getting a little bit brave here. Tunguska supporting. He needs to move that Tunguska up the fire. He does, in fact, do it. And BVIs will continue to clean up infantry and infantry vehicles, as the Tunguska should be able to hit this helicopter location. T-80Us and T-72s in the distance pounding as well. And this is just a really well organized flank. More infantry are coming. There is a napalm in this general vicinity here. Infantry carriers will be moving through, are weakened a bit. Might have to see these tanks get pulled back a little bit of bike road, and they're going into the woods, so never mind. They will in fact be fine. T-80A firing rockets in distance at the BMP-3, which misses, and we have a crazy Mista being fired here, hitting all the AA in the distance, getting some pretty good stuns, but not really doing too much for damage. And I lied. 1 packet hit, and it dropped him down to 1 hit point. T-80As will rush across the field, blah, with Bash, sorry, and Gandhi supporting from the bottom. T-80A is, of course, not the magic vehicle that T-80U is. Speaking of which, there's a little bit of something going on here. Looks like Prizik Igla caught a helicopter in this random location and completely secured this Charlie base. And now they just have to bring in a command here to once again grab this point, and then they have the close reinforcement point once again, and they can push into the middle. At the middle location, looks like this command was temporarily moved out of the base for a second. I'm not sure why. T-80A is completely out of their reflex rockets. 1 will go down to a T-80U. The second might go down with SU-24 MPs coming in to try and do a good stun here. Can they get the stun off? Oh my god, they're aiming for that Buratino. Oh my god, Buratino got stunned but not killed. There's not enough direct hits here. And we're going to see a Mista firing in the distance. Going after some pretty good shots here. Gets the OSA with relative ease. And this little attack here by the no units is pretty well shut down. They will need to resupply a lot of these units. As it looks like there's a signal for an attack against the no unit being done. Now, if they can save up for a command, that would be huge. If they get that command vehicle, place it in the Charlie base, they will be another +1 ahead, and they'll also be in a great position to strike forward into Kilo base. So that's something to worry about. And just lots of calls for attacks on various locations, wanting to secure a lot of these roads. And no, like just positions, like, oh, there could be infantry here. There could be infantry here. There's probably infantry here. Like, those are all just artillery and bombing places. And with this base here, they'll be able to signal in aircraft from this area to bomb into that location. In the distance, this is really the big major battlefield. As a T-80A will go down to a bombing run, there will be more artillery fire smashing in the distance. Will it be able to get anything this time? Targeting desperately on this command vehicle, and there is a supply truck in the distance actually resupplying its health as it takes damage. One infantry does go down, but nothing more. Command vehicle still in play, as no unit still has a lot of points to gain. They're about 60 points behind at a 600, which isn't too bad realistically. And up top here, the command has been spotted. It's interesting. The UAZ is next spotted here, and they will be signaling in lots of air superior fighters and whatnot. All the while on this left flank, T-64 BVI is moving up, trying to once again take this location here, and that will secure them the middle base, which will give them another big +1. Keep in mind, they do have to get a command out here. There's no way they're out of commands. That would be almost impossible. By the way, if you're hearing loud metal shaking noise in the background, that's because people are digging up my lawn, and they've been doing this for like 2 months. Like, literally, I have my property line, and they have dug right up to my property line. And I have a pretty sizable lawn, but I don't know, it's just really weird. Like, they cut out my rose bush, which apparently legally wasn't my rose bush, it was somebody else's legally, and I was just building on their lawn. I was very upset about that. It took a long time to get that bush. Like, I'm in Newfoundland, we don't have nice climate for rose bush. They had to get my greenhouse, my little mini greenhouse. Anyway, BVI coming up. There's not really anything to challenge it here. Absolutely no AT in this location. Once again, kind of the generic theme for Steel Balaleika's failure has been a deck failure. No AT here. They did not get the command here. They're going to pull out the BVIs as quickly as possible because there are some helicopters here. There's one Tunguska in the neighborhood here, and they get rid of that Tunguska, then they can just bomb the remainder of this location. They might even consider putting some air superior fighters against this helicopter. In the distance here, 2 T-72s have moved a little too close, trying to knock out some of these Tunguskas, and a very early strategy from the very early beta was actually focused around getting rid of the AA. If you get rid of the AA, you win the air war. Looks like a pretty sizable miss here on the artillery barrage, trying to get this command here, but just didn't hit it, didn't have it circled enough. And now we see a situation where a command has been placed at Charlie and one in the middle, and no unit is back in the lead with a huge +3. Momentarily, they will sneak up the total points, and looks like we're going to see a no unit victory. The map is pretty evenly divided in a lateral manner, with the center being completely in control of no unit. They've traded far more cost effectively than Steel Balaleika, who give them a hell of a fight. But at this moment, the Troublemaker is predicting a win for the no unit clan. And similar to the last game we watched, is very, very close. It had to be a comeback. It had to be a comeback in order for it to matter. And interesting fact, this little bush here has been pretty well seeded to red, which means that there will be a position to actually attack this hotel, but the overwhelming question is, will it matter? Command. Misplaced for a second. We're going to reposition to a bush. There's just not really enough AT on the map. There are more T-80Us on the map than there have ever been before for the Steel Balaleika. And now they're going to try and rush in here and re-grab this position. And if they can succeed here, maybe they'll have a chance. But right now it's +3, which means they have to win 3 engagements. 3 sector engagements in order to win this. That's really hard to do. There is only 22 minutes left in the game. That's half of the game left over. Both players are having used a lot of assets, including a ridiculous number of tanks being thrown away by the Steel Balaleika, as well as most of their infantry. They run out of infantry, people. The no unit clan has run out of tanks and they're rallying in whatever they can. T-64s are what they have left. The Steel Balaleika have run out of infantry and now they're only using tanks. But this engagement has just not been very good for him at all. He has burned through all of his rockets. None of his T-80Us have survived. He has done a little bit of damage, but he's just not gaining the ground that he needs to gain. BMP 1D gets deployed with a ridiculous amount of infantry. The infantry get dropped right away because realistically what they need right now are those BMP 1Ds. Their rockets and AT abilities are quite good. Conquerors being deployed left and right here as just a general call for attack. This is the now or never moment, actually. If they can't win this engagement, the game is completely over. And they just won't have realized it yet. The points of no unit are just scaling up so fast. If they can't win one engagement, they're in trouble. And they're just throwing everything balls to the wall. They have Motostrelkis fighting on this point against Spetsnaz. An even amount of Spetsnaz versus an even amount of Motostrelkis. BMP 3Ds with Motostrelkis in the distance, trying to just cross the threshold. There's just so many tanks though, so much area. And whoa, a BMP 1K is going to get snuck in here and it's going to cancel this Mike location. So he once again cannot rally in reinforcements here. And he's also denying one more point, which would give a +4 to the no unit clan. At the bottom flank, it's pretty well calmed down. Just a little bit of skittering on the single Motostrelki squad. And now it's absolutely going to be a huge win here for the no unit clan. We have an attack call against this BMP 1K, realizing that this is quite a problematic position for them, pontifically personified by Pontius Pilate. And a bomb does go off. Finally, that command will in fact go down. 2 minutes later, the points difference now is just getting ridiculous. We're now double the score for the no unit clan, as there's just seemingly no way of stopping them. Also, there's a realization that there's a single Prizik Igla here, which will in fact go down. And the middle location, blue. All around. And this has been a complete dominance map. This is really how you play the game. You carve them out, you defend your flanks, and you attack aggressively into their weak points. And that's what no unit has done in this game. They have 201 points to get, 3 per 3 seconds. We're looking at the game ending in roughly 4 minutes if the Steel Balaleika don't do something soon. But what can they do? They're in this really awkward position where their opponents are on the aggressive and they're on the defensive. And look how coy we see the no unit clan be. They're rallying in these BMP 1Ks, sticking them in the exact same location just so they can finish the game slightly faster. Now they don't really have a lot of tanks that they can rally out, so that is a big reason why they're doing this. They're rallying out a lot more infantry, a lot more AT. And look how good these guys are. They put a smoke on this reinforcement point just so that these tanks here couldn't hit. They have not secured the reinforcement point. The reinforcement point has been blocked by the enemy, but they're just smoking it out so they can get all their units in. That is so smart. Such a good, well-coordinated team. This middle location here, however, still in domination of no unit, but there is some Motostrelkis here just sitting, trying to stop. And there is an attack command called by Lemieux. Just wants to clean these up, wants to make this secure, and they can place some 18 here and hit from the side flank if they in fact have any in their decks. I have not seen their decks in advance. A deck viewer will be a nice little addition for replays. So far, none such exists. Threw away a air superiority to try and kill his T-80U, trying to really stun him as this army is moving forward. We have the BMP 1K coming in here. Might be able to take this base here, and we'll negate it at least. There's just lots of tanks here for Steel Balaleika, and as I was saying, there's a tank domination here. It might be shifting. We have 3, 4, 5 T-80Us here compared to the only 1 T-80U and 2 T-88s here for the no unit clan. And this is really time. Here comes those big, expensive Ka-50 Akulas, which deal ridiculous long-range rockets. This is the craziness that you need. Here comes a massive Buratino barrage, stuns the tank in position as the Akulas are moving in. A Tunguska is getting moved up by the Steel Balaleika as the Akulas might be just getting a little bit too close, outgrowing their britches, and one shot goes off, 2 shots off. Where goes one of the Akulas? The Tunguska continues to move up. A T-80U trying to cover for the other Akula, trying to get this Tunguska, but he might be sacrificing himself to the T-80Us and the T-64 BVs As the Akulas are moving away, the Tunguska moves up. The T-80U will get the shot off, but no, he might be sacrificing the T-80U in exchange for the Tunguska. Kind of an uneven trade if he can get away. And he just might barely survive this. 1 hit point left, and the T-80U survives? No, he's supposed to die, people. He's supposed to die at this point. But once again, too late. We're looking at 50 points left over for no unit to gain. That will be literally less than 30 seconds to obtain. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me for Clash of the Clans 2. My name is Troublemaker. If you've enjoyed this match, you enjoyed this action, you want to see more of Clash of the Clans, make sure to subscribe to my channel, the TMC, because I will be doing the matches as they show up. If you don't want to subscribe to my channel and you feel that's too much of a commitment issue, subscribe to the playlist for this tournament. And yes, like, share, subscribe. Let people know about this great tournament, because the team league in Wargame AirLand Battle is very much alive and kicking. And the tactics that these people are using with each other are ridiculous, well organized, and well coordinated. Ladies and gentlemen, I bid you adieu. Congratulations, no unit clan. Steel Balaleika will drop to the losers bracket, and I don't know who they're facing yet because those matches have not been played. Thank you guys for watching. See you guys next time.